There's a lot of difference between like me and the rest of the AD carries. If I get ahead, I stay ahead.
On a smoothie right away and nothing you can do. First blood for Freeze, Renegades.
I make a lot of pressure on the map.
And Freeze from downtown lands the spear.
I don't want to be harsh to double lift, but he's just past his prime.
That's double lift and yellow down. They are going for double lift. Double again! Double lift does get caught this time.
He used to be way better than he is right now.
Welcome everyone to week 4 of the 2016 North American League Championship Series. We're coming to you live with another action-packed day of League of Legends from the LCS Battle Arena. Now the fans are hyped up here in sunny California and looking forward to cheering on their favorite teams, which includes, of course, the Immortals, who you see here arriving at the studio and rolling deep. They'll be playing to keep their undefeated run alive as they take on Liquid. Here they are in the huddle and looking like a united front. A lot of eyes will be fixed on that first matchup to see if Liquid are the team to bring Immortals back down to earth. Hello everyone, I'm James Dash Patterson. Happy Chinese New Year. And helping me discuss the day ahead of us, it's Aiden's Irene Moon and Joshua Jat Leesman. Gentlemen, we're almost there. We're almost to that midway point of the split. We've got some big matchups that start off the day. We've got both Immortals and against Liquid, as well as C9 versus Energy. So a lot of shuffling could happen near the top of the table. Yeah. Maybe we see the first loss handed to Immortals.
There are a number of games today with teams that are very close to each other in the standings. So as they position towards the end of the first split, we're going to get hopefully a better idea of where all these teams stand.
Exactly. Well, let's take a look at those standings, get a sense of the state of the league after yesterday's games. Ahead of the pack is Immortals with 7 straight wins. Following in second place is Energy Esports with the bulk of the LCS, 1 win behind them, tied for third. At the bottom of the standings, we have Team Dignitas 1 win ahead of 9th place teams Echo Fox and Renegades. Now today we're kicking off the action with Immortals taking on Team Liquid, followed by Cloud9 versus Energy Esports. Then Renegades will square off against TSM before Team Dignitas battles Echo Fox to cap off today's broadcast. Now in the past we've seen a lot of parity among teams, but the 2016 season has shown us there is a clear skill floor and a clear skill ceiling. And if we carry that analogy further, well then Immortals, they aren't even in the room, they're on the roof.
Yeah, we have some parity with like 5 teams in the middle. We have Immortals way above everybody else. We knew coming into this week, even if they lost both games, they'd still be in first place.
Yeah, and if they lose this week and the rest of next week, they're still in first place or at least tied for it. Immortals, they've just been playing a really, really great season so far, coming out with all of these stars, and seriously, they deserve to be on top of the way they've been playing.
Yeah, I have to say, I've just loved the ingenuity of the team comps too, the whole PvE, like MMO party, raiding party.
Heal the giant Cho'Gath.
They've got the Cho'Gath.
Heal the healer that's healing Cho'Gath.
I hate that
yes,
so
and then
much.
they've got 2 healers. It's like the ideal raiding party.
Straka's like, I'm healing you and losing HP, and Nidalee like, no, I got you. You got a healer for your healer.
It's just so frustrating to deal with, but we can agree that Immortals, they're kind of in a tier all of their own.
Yep.
7-0, undefeated, no one handed them a loss yet. But then as you move one step down further in the ladder, things start to get a little bit muddy. But who, if we had to pick the teams most likely to hand a loss over to Immortals, what are the teams we're looking at?
I think the team they're going to play today, Liquid. Because I think Liquid has a great kind of, they're coming into their own. They have rookie shot callers, and their problem has been closing games out, not really getting advantages in them, because they have such an early aggressive jungler with Dardoch, and Piglet is having a great season altogether, right? He's having amazing performances. It's just the closing of the games and the shot calling. So as the season progresses, maybe the first time today, maybe they'll hand them a loss, or maybe the second time they play them. But I think Liquid is the one that's looking at second place, possibly dethroning them later in the season.
Liquid with an opportunity. What about you, Jet?
I think Liquid could show a little bit, has shown too much inconsistency when we look at the whole 4-week span. Their quality win to me was over Energy in week 3, but aside from that, we see 3 losses, a really hard win against Echo Fox, a really difficult win against Team Impulse, and then a strong win against Team Dignitas yesterday. So I still want to wait and see them kind of prove themselves. For me, I think the most likely team is actually Energy. They didn't take down Immortals, but they played a very close game against them, and GBM has been the best mid laner in North America so far this split, hard carrying them, and I do feel like Alltech will step up to kind of do more damage. He's just been super passive in the back of fights.
Right.
And when they can get him enabled, I feel like there's a lot of carry potential on that team.
Yeah, that's the challenge with Energy is because they seem one-dimensional to me. I feel like they wait until mid-game and then they play through GBM because Moon isn't having the type of early game pressure to even gank that mid lane and make things happen. So I think Moon and Conquan are kind of like little anchors for that team right now that are weighing them down a bit. But if they step up and they are able to actually unlock GBM and Impact and play to those guys as long, and Altec, like they have 3 carries on that team potentially, but I feel like they're just pigeonholing themselves.
The Altec point is a good one just because we had those damage statistics from yesterday. GBM at 32K, Altec on
It has
Corki
been a
only hitting
one-dimensional
about
show.
7.
Like, to be
17K.
fair, the weakness is well stated by Zyrene there. It's GBM that's gotten them to 5-2. But I think the potential is there for the rest of the team to take over more.
Exactly. I think another team that a lot of people would want to point to would be TSM. Again, that star-studded roster that's still struggling to find themselves, though. What are our feelings on this team and where they might fall on that tier list?
The faith is dwindling for TSM because you want to give them time to adapt and kind of figure out each other's play style. But at a certain point, you start worrying if it's actually going to be able to come together. They had an ugly win against Echo Fox yesterday, and they just haven't looked like a star-studded team. The stars just aren't all playing together.
Yeah, they have confidence issues right now with each other. And at that point, I think that the coaching staff really needs to be the ones to unite this team and get them all on the same page and start giving them direction. Because TSM right now, you said they have all these stars. Well, they look like a team of superstars, not a superstar team. And there's a big difference there with this because they don't look like they're able to compete at that top level, especially with the way they're performing against Echo Fox. So TSM, I think that with time, when I talk to Immortals players, they say full power TSM could potentially beat them, and that's what they're afraid of because TSM gave them their longest game of the season so far,
Very
38
true.
minutes.
It was their closest game.
And it was a botched lane swap by TSM at the start. So they pretty much had that game, and then the Baron fiasco happened, and that's what
We all remember all the players on TSM having huge success in other teams.
Right.
So like that's where all these teams are seeing the potential, and they lane against Bjergsen or Doublelift, and they see the CS advantage and they see the mechanics. But until they can put it together, I'm not willing to say that they will put it together.
Right, absolutely. Understood. If we fill out that roster for playoff contending teams, we're looking at the likes of Cloud9, CLG, Team Impulse. Any one of those 3 seem like the front runner or maybe someone who's sitting on the bubble that has to step it up in order to squeak through at the end of the season?
To me, it's a whole bunch of inconsistency. I feel like Team Impulse would be the bottom of that crew, and Cloud9, they had their best game yet yesterday, and CLG looked a little bit too fast against Immortals. So both those guys have some work to do.
Yeah, Cloud9 seem like they're getting it a little bit together. TIP, we've only seen 1 game from the full roster, though. So just like you with TSM, I don't know if I'm willing to even say anything about TIP just yet.
There's still some more information to get from them. Now, if we're to break these teams down a bit further, we have some clear standout performers scattered throughout the ranks, and I want to start with that man in the mid lane, GBM.
Yeah, I was just talking about it, but highest damage per minute for mid lane, that's a really high number, 789.8, and that's been on a variety of champions. It's not like he's just playing late game AP Ezreal and doing a whole bunch of damage. He played LeBlanc yesterday and did a huge amount of damage overall for the team on an assassin.
LeBlanc into Lissandra, Black Shield Morgana. I mean, it definitely was a tall order for him in this game.
He really transitioned well to North American LCS for sure.
Yeah, he was on an upward trend by the regionals as well in LCK, having the most damage per gold there at the end of the season. Now, I want to talk about a different mid laner though for Cloud9, Jensen. This is a guy who came in last year and he was struggling to CS on stage. Now he's become an offensive playmaker for Cloud9, and it looks like they're emboldening him. They're making sure that he's actually able to make these plays, and he's synergizing with Rush now. He's synergizing with High, and his confidence seems on another level, and he just looks like a completely different player. Even with a name change, I mean, he has a different name above his head, but he is a different player now in the LCS.
He's meeting the expectations that were set for him over a year ago.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely stepped up in a huge way. Also, I just love this. It was pointed out on Reddit, but in that clip, you see a really great example of the Athene's passive, proccing 3 times on the triple kill. He goes from literally 0 mana to full in one fight. Regardless, time to move on to our next player, and that's Piglet of Team Liquid.
Yeah, we talked about just now Jensen reaching the expectations that were set for him. Piglet is actually doing that now. He had a bit of a rough road throughout on Team Liquid. Even the beginning of the season looked rough, but not because Piglet was playing poorly. He has been knocking it out of the park all split, and a lot of people are saying he's doing this by playing passively because he has a lot of assists, not many kills. Highest damage for an AD carry doesn't come from playing passive. It comes from playing smart and calculated, and that's what Piglet's done.
He's getting in the maximum amount of damage per fight that he possibly can. He part of that success that the team has found was bringing in newbie Dardoch, and he's the next person that I want to take a look at.
Dardoch, in my opinion, is one of the top 2 best junglers right now, pretty much no question. I think that he leads, I think that he just leads this team to a new identity now. They can play through their jungler and play through multiple lanes, and he actually has the most kills for a jungler right now. He also has the highest damage per minute for a jungler, and also on top of all of this, even though Piglet's doing so much
Taking all
damage.
the kills from Piglet.
I know, but like, you see the damage that Piglet's doing, but despite that, Dardoch is still doing the second most damage share for a jungler in the league. So he is incredibly aggressive. He has 87% first blood participation, and he has just changed the face of this team, and Liquid fans are really happy that he's coming in.
You'd like to have 2 standout performers on your team in Team Liquid, but how about 5?
Yeah.
Immortals. Because we really couldn't, when you look at this team, you can't just pull one out of the pack and say he's the standout.
It's hard to discern because you don't want to disparage any of these players. Obviously, Huni and Reignover carried that huge regular season winning streak over from the European LCS, but it's not like they have been single-handedly carrying this team to an undefeated record. Pobelth has played 7 different champions, Wild Turtle looks like his old self, and Adrian is proving he's a top support.
Yeah, and I think that this also extends past the players to the coaches and the coaching staff. I think they've united the players very quickly. They've gotten rid of bad habits, Huni tilting, Wild Turtle being told not to flash in, and also these other things on top of it where they have this mental fortitude that they can, people are talking about like they should lose so that they can feel what it's like to lose and bounce back.
No,
but
what? That sounds awful.
I know.
That's awful advice.
But they already have that as a team. They just bring each other up. I mean, you lose all the time in scrims, right? So like they're able to get back in it, get back on stage, and they're able to make this happen, and they're consistent. But 90% of the coach's job is done off stage. But the 10% we're seeing, the drafts are really good. They look like they have a clear win condition, and then the players are able to take it from there.
Yeah, smiles win games. That's what I always say. But now that we've highlighted some of our standout performers in the league, we want you to let us know who we missed. Send your tweets to @LolEsports to answer our media question of the day. Who is your unsung hero in the North American LCS and why? Let us know who you think is flying under the radar, and we'll read some of your responses later in the show. That's going to lead us to turning our attention to the game of the day. Our first one here, where we have 2 of the hottest teams in the LCS going head-to-head with Immortals versus Liquid. Now, the new team on the block have yet to show any major flaws in their gameplay, and they continue to dominate the competition.
And this game will show us if there is a team on Immortals level this half of the season, because they only have to play Liquid and Team Dignitas in the latter half, and Team Liquid looked really well in their last 4 games of winning.
Yeah, so one of these teams is going to have to walk away with 1 extra loss now, but maybe the first one for Immortals, and it might stop Liquid's streak.
1 streak will be broke.
But honestly, I think that this is going to be a great experience for both teams to play against each other on stage. I think that these are the 2 teams that are jockeying for that first and second position here in the league based on their recent performances.
I want to talk about a matchup here in this game that I think a lot of eyes will be pointed towards. We've got those AD carries. Wild Turtle, Jat, you mentioned he's looked to return to form, his old form, and then Piglet finally hitting that mark, what we would have expected from him when he initially came over to the league.
And Wild Turtle has been playing so aggressively. I don't really remember him flashing backwards or dashing backwards. It's always been forward because he's always in a position to succeed, but he's more willing to go for that than pretty much any other AD carry. And it has been working flawlessly for them. Piglet might be an AD carry to actually punish some of those dashes forward if they get in a team fight scenario, very quick target selection, because it's not really a laning phase anymore, but it's still a really big team fight matchup.
Absolutely. Then, of course, the other members of the teams that we want to look at, Reignover and Dardoch. Explosive new jungler here in Dardoch, and then Reignover. Picture of consistency, a big help to this team.
Yeah, he's 7 out of 7 for first blood participation for Immortals, and this is basically one of the best Western junglers versus one of the best Western rookie junglers right now in this matchup. And I think that this is going to be explosive because both of them have a rather similar style. Dardoch has purchased the Red Smite 5 out of his 6 games just to be aggressive and try to get a hold on this game. They're number 1 and 2 for actually first blood participation, and Dardoch leads the lead in kill participation. So they like to fight, they like to go in, and this is going to be great.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of conflict in this matchup because Reignover is one to always try and take the opponent's jungler, and Dardoch does the same thing. So unless they're like ships passing the night into each other's jungle, they will fight each other in the river.
And one of the things that Dardoch has been praised by his staff and everybody watching is that his intuition and his instincts about what's going on in the game and where the other jungler is going to be are really good. And he's transitioned his scrim performances pretty much flawlessly to the stage without those nerves we usually see. So him up against Reignover, Reignover sometimes augments his routes in a very strange way. we don't see most junglers have the type of fluidity he does, and he's able to kind of adjust on the fly. So I want to see how that throws Dardoch off and if he's able to adjust in this matchup.
Team Liquid is your pick for a team that could beat Immortals. Are we seeing it today? I'm putting you on the spot. Are we seeing it today, or are we waiting a few weeks?
I wished happy birthday to Locodoco this morning.
Yeah.
True, it's also
He said
Locodoco's
he was
birthday.
going to beat him. He also said student versus master for the coaching.
That's
match.
true.
Ah,
But I still
that's
think
true.
Immortals is going to win.
So
Yeah.
Jat's going with Immortals. You think Immortals still going to snag this one? We're going to wait a couple weeks for Team Liquid to get there?
Yeah.
All right.
I think
that's
Immortals
fair
still
enough.
have this.
That's fair
I
enough,
still
but needless
think
to
they have
say, it
this.
should be an exciting and explosive game. Before we throw it to our casters, though, let's check in with Liquid's Matt and his excitement to square off against Immortals.
I've been waiting for the Immortals match probably all season because, yeah, just from how their bot lane plays, like they basically play to farm. They don't try to take any resources from their team. They just try to go even and, yeah, let the rest of the map, like, I guess, carry. But with that sort of play style, there can be advantages for us. Like, we want to be playing like a really aggressive bot. We want to be able to win lane and take our advantages from there. So going against like undefeated Immortals is definitely my favorite game to look forward to right now.